Hello, hello. All right, we're doing it again. This time, we have a couple new people. We have some new people that are coming. What I've decided to do is on the second and fourth Friday of the month at 2:30 Pacific, 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern, we'll be meeting for an hour, and I'm gonna start a sign up page on my website, Heal the Hates and Start to Shine. And on that page, people can come and join us. They'll get reminders each time so that we're all on the same page. If we want to share some notes and things, I'll have a membership site that we can share some resources with each other. And what I thought that we would do is let's do an introduction again, um, and why you're here. And then we'll jump into some sharing of resources and how we want to keep moving forward. So, where this started was, I just felt like I needed to do something, wanted to do something. I see the world imploding, exploding, and um, I'm in a very comfortable space. I'm not being prejudiced against, I'm not being hurt. Even though I'm LGBTQ right now, I'm safe in my own skin. I'm also going to be doing a Be Proud for that as well on the second and the fourth Wednesday at noon Pacific. So if you know anybody that has parents of kids that are gay or lesbian or trans or curious or not sure, I'm having a conversation there so that people can feel safe there. So, one of the things I'm trying to do with my life is see where I can show up and be of service. And I know everybody that's here is doing the same thing. So, I'm Dr. Beth Hulbert, drbeth.com, and I'm known as America's Teenologist. And what I do is I love teenage energy, um, the second and the fourth week of the month. So the second is today the fifth Friday, Ariel? Of course it is, Ariel. I'm not detail oriented. Let's see when. Okay, what do I know? Okay, going forward, it'll be the second and the fourth Friday of the month. And this is a bonus. I know, crack me up. Crack myself up too.
Well, it makes up
So,
for last week.
what's that?
This just makes up for last week, so we're good.
Exactly, exactly. I was in a retreat last week, and so we missed it. So anyway, my goal is
Yeah, that
to,
was it, Beth.
yeah, whatever. My goal is to create a safe space for those of us that are not in dire crisis. So this is not necessarily a place for people to come and get healed by this group. It's more a place for this group to see what we can bring to the rest of the world. So there are people that are in rage, there are people that are in pain, there are people that are in fear. And what I would love to do with this group is see what can we do as a collaborative, as a cooperative? How can we what can we do to make things make a difference? And Sharon Swan Cowdery, that just Sharon just jumped on. We were talking a few weeks ago, and she was like, I feel like I need to do something. I want to do something. I said, well, I was going to start a group and just have us mastermind together. So I don't have a formula for this. I don't, if somebody says, I've got a game plan, come this way, I'll follow. I'm really just holding a light, holding a space, and looking for a place for all of us to be able to make a difference with each other. So that's me. And somebody else that came before, Doyle, you were here last time, and so why don't you say why you're here? And those that were here last time. So just say your name, why you're here, and anything else you want to share, Doyle.
I'm here because I'm not all there. Um, um,
And that's why I love you,
and
Doyle.
that's why I love you, Doyle. I'm here because I'm passionate about trying to make the world a better place. And obviously, there's more of me than I know because it looks like the echo is coming on my system. Um, but I have over the years come to understand myself that wherever I go, whatever community I'm in, I want to make it a little better, however that shows up. Whether at one point being a judge of a cookie competition at my church, to being a prayer practitioner and helping people on their spiritual paths, to helping people with their finances, whatever helps raise up the good of the world.
Okay, I love it. And Doyle, I think it's your phone, your thing is getting a feedback loop on it. Okay, cool. Who else was here last time that wants to share? Sharon.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Wow. I can't see me, so I'm not sure why, but
Bottom left corner, but we'll figure it out later.
okay. I'm here to support whatever the group decides to do about eliminating the hate and helping us to get along and build a better country, and not only politically, but educationally, spiritually, emotionally, and all the above.
Okay, I love it. Cecile? Am I saying that wrong?
No, I just unmuting myself. Well, so, and I maybe I should put my name up there. So my name is Cecilia. I just, because if my husband and I are on the same Zoom, like with something at church, I just tend to lump our two names together. That's why it says CEKEN, but it's Cecilia. So basically what Doyle and Sharon both said, I'm right there with them. Based in life, I've tended to always want to make whatever I'm around to be a better place, space. And my way of doing that is trying to understand people and listening to people. And so at this point in the world, in our lives, it's like, in my view, very crisis oriented. And so it has become something very burdensome on my mind, heart, that, I got to be part of the process for the, stopping the hate and healing. And so I have been wondering, I do what I do, on the side and a little bit, but it's like, how do you become part of a bigger picture? So, I have one thought, which I'll share later, but the point is I right there with what Doyle and Sharon said. And just grateful and thankful that some of the people that are out there who are on the other side, I'm sure some of them were not always like that. So I want to say I'm just so thankful and grateful, but but for the grace of God, there go I, that it requires me to be very mindful. There's a word mindful I saw in Doyle's writing that I know every day I get up, I've got to be very mindful about this today.
I love it. I love it. Yes, so true, so true. And I was listening to Brene Brown. I put that in the note as a reading that you can listen to. One of the things that she quoted was someone said that white supremacy is not the animal, is not the elephant in the room, it is the room.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we start from that space and we all own that, it's in the rules, the laws, the language, it's we don't even know what we don't even know when we're doing it, and it's internalized, it's projected, and this is also in all of the other things that between the white and the black, between the white and any group of color, any non-Caucasian group. It's also between the red and the blue. It's also between the boomers and the millennials. It's also between, like, what's going on right now with Reddit and hi Carolyn and David, with what's going on in that situation. if we are not listening to each other, understanding each other, seeking to understand with each other, but somebody has to be able to listen. And a lot of the people in the world right now, they got nothing. There's no room for listening. It's like, I've been hurt and I need to spew, and you've been hurt and you need to spew. So, what I'm kind of looking for is a group that can hold other people spewing without us engaging in the rage. And one of the things that Brene Brown was talking about is we need accountability. And I get what she's saying about that. We definitely need accountability. And if we start taking names and accountability, you're going to have the president, you're going to have the 2 senators in jail, you're going to have the 140 people that are in the House in jail. You're going to have, let's just boom, we're now at 70 million in the whole country that have a similar thoughts or philosophy or whatnot, depending upon where you snap the line, where you snap the chalk line. So one of the things that I want to do with this, the healing, is where am I willing to look within? Where am I a hypocrite of hypocrites? Where am I a hater? Where am I the one that's projecting? And as you said, Cecilia, it's mindfulness. And it's like not being so full of myself to think I don't do that already. So so that's those of us that were here before. So let's just start at the top. This is my dad, Bill Hulbert. Dad, why are you here? And you guys didn't get the memo to wear red, but that's okay.
I like the word understanding, as I see and hear and experience the radical behaviors that are occurring. It leaves me in a mix of mind and making me wonder why in the world would somebody do that. And you can give it labels. You can say, well, they've been oppressed and they're coming out of their cave or wherever. But there is so much hate. And I have a woman that works with me who happens to be black, takes care of my wife as a caregiver. And we talked a lot. And she has helped me probably more than anybody to understand the point of view of the black person. We've been talking about getting the shots, and she's not going to do it for now because she doesn't trust the white folks who are administering the shots.
Yep.
And she has a history, knows the history of how blacks have been persecuted with experimental drugs and whatever else in the past. And she's convinced that maybe this first go around is a trial to see how many people are going to die. And she doesn't want to be part of that first group. And she goes on and on about other things where there's suspicion. And it's just so real to her. I mean, she talks about her husband works at an Amazon place and gets off in the morning at about 3:30, and he calls her before he comes home, and she doesn't relax until he gets home.
Wow.
And she's very nervous about him getting home safely. And I've thought so many times I've gone somewhere on a flight or something that I had to go somewhere at 3:30 in the morning or traveled. I've never thought about this could be the night. This could be the night. So I can't even fathom it, but it's real. It's just every day to them.
Yeah.
And just to add one more example, same way with her kids. She gives them major instructions. They're 2 little girls, and she says, don't ever go anywhere without your sister. Never go into a restroom, and some of that's good caution anyway, but it goes way beyond that. And she's scared to death for her kids, and so all of that together has given me some fairly recent experiences in oppression and some of the reaction to hate that I've experienced. So I'm looking for understanding. I guess I almost wish we had some people on this. Well, I don't almost. I wish we had some folks on this experience that could say, "Well, let me tell you how we feel." You know?
Well, we definitely have people here that can give us that. I promise you. And Dad, you and I've talked about, and we can go there too. We can just have a space for that. If I'm totally cool with wherever we want to go with this. Dad, you and I have talked also about what it was like before segregation and when you were a kid and the ignorance you had. You're 83. And the ignorance that you had as a child and how ingrained this teaching is. And so we need some massive undoing. And I'm so grateful that I didn't get what my mom and dad got. Like, I don't know how they didn't give me that, but I didn't get it, what they got. And thank you for not passing all that on. So, what about you, Lawrence? You want to check in? You might be a good person to check in at this point.
Thank you for offering me this opportunity. I'm just here to, I walk in the skin that I walk in. After almost 60 years, you take in different touch points, and we're at a point in this country that's just like, wow, this is a trip. I mean, is the Declaration of Independence, for who was it written for? I don't think it was written for me. And that's where you're like going, wow. So that's just a trip. And that's sort of being unfolded of like, the Declaration of Independence was not kept in mind for women or immigrants or people of color or slaves. It was for people who were white. And now that we're actually, we wrap ourselves in the Constitution and we wrap ourselves in the flag, and you go, well, these are all drapery or fineries for other people and not us. And so, yeah. I mean, that's sort of the reality as you see it unfolded. And now we're here going, wow, it's really sort of, you're seeing what's,
I'm not crazy.
Count. Right. And the votes don't count. And what does that mean? Well, it means people of color out voting people who are now, and look, there's more than that. I'm simplifying these things, and I apologize. And I'm going to get to my point in a second, is that there's just code words that are out there. They're very charging. And that's the thing too. They don't just come out and say stuff. It's very, very charged, and no one talks truth. They have to move in. The next paradigm is we need to talk conspiracy theories, which is, I don't know if it's code. They just don't want to come out and go, we're white supremacists or pro-white. We're going to come out with other things. But look, if you ever saw Dave Chappelle's monologue from SNL a month ago, I don't hate. I hate that feeling of hate. I hate having to walk around and have that feeling. And that's what because I don't want to. Everywhere we all have our issues, white, black, Asian, whatever. You scratch the surface, you've all been wrong some way, shape, or form. It's just, but I hate to have that. I hate to have that occupy any part of my brain, that there's people, the hate is visible now. It's not just below the surface. It's really visible. And you're looking at people in different ways.
Isn't that awesome, Lawrence?
Well, what's that?
I said, isn't that awesome?
Is that I like sarcasm. I think it's, yes.
But in a way I'm being sarcastic, in a way I'm being serious. It's like, isn't it awesome that it's out in the open and none of us are crazy for thinking there's racism or sexism or any other sort of ism? It's like, now look, this is what I've been trying to tell you. It's here. I told you it was here.
Well, yes, absolutely. I mean, the case in point, you're looking at, you can go into the Capitol, you can walk around with a Confederate flag, you can look at the things and casually go about what you're doing, as well as marauding, and walk out and go, this is exactly what Black Lives Matter was about, White Lives Matter. And so you know, what I would say is when people say all lives matter, which is sort of like they don't get
Ignore
the
what's
Black
happening.
Lives matter exactly, but all lives matter for democracy. Let me just say that all lives matter for democracy. Black Lives Matter is dealing with, you know, you don't want to get stopped and killed for just whatever. You never know. You have that lecture. Nobody's had that lecture with their son or daughter. Some people on to go, look, this is what happens when you get pulled over. A very surreal conversation when you have to have that conversation with your child. But no, all democracy, all lives matter when it comes to democracy, and this is where we are right now. But I'm here. Thank you for the opportunity I'm here to listen really and learn rather than go on this thing because everybody's got a story, and I'm intrigued with everybody's story.
Well, and I'm so grateful you're here, Lawrence. And I would say the real lie, the biggest lie of all lies, is that white skin is superior to any other color of skin. That's the real lie. And and we've all integrated that into our beliefs, and we don't even know it's in our beliefs. Steve and Ernie, welcome to the call. Why are you guys here?
Hello.
Hi.
It's good to see you. Well, first of all, Sharon Swan Cowdery invited us. And as soon as she told us the possible topic, we jumped on it and said, we're in. We've just, we've tried to work. We've worked with people all our lives, and we've tried to work in the area of racial reconciliation and reconciliation in general, for at least 20 years, and still feel sometimes we've made no difference. And we were with the Salvation Army for over 15 years, just left the leadership role there, and we learned so much. I'm sure we learned a lot more than we ever contributed. But we're just kind of looking at that now from a distance in terms of what else can we do? What can we do as individuals? What can we do with the people that we're around that we can just help move them along? So Steve wrote a book about 4 years ago.
3.
3 years ago. You want to talk about that for a sec?
We both really love people, and we don't really care whether we agree with them or not. To me, it's so terrible now that you think everybody has to agree with you, or they're somehow less than you. It's been about color, but now it's about disagreement, whether that be political or other subjects. And to me, disagreement is a wonderful thing. I can learn. If everybody thought like me, the world would be really weird. Even
right.
And boring.
And so I grew up in the segregated South. And I was born in 51. I remember asking my mom in Little Rock, Arkansas, why is there white and colored water fountains? And she couldn't give a good answer. In 57, when I started the first grade, Little Rock, the National Guard was called out. My dad was a radio reporter, reported all that, but I didn't get it, even though I lived in a city that was probably 40% black. Blacks and whites were separated legally, and through all my years growing up, I didn't know a black person. I went to a white high school and graduated in 69 that was across the street from a black high school. In 72, they built a walkway over and made it one school. But what happened to me is that in my freshman year in college, I got recruited to sell books door to door, and I sold Ebony's Pictorial History of Black America door to door, and did that for 3 summers. And that was the most, I fell in love with the people I sold books to. I was in Austin, Texas, and in Columbus, Georgia, so in the South. And, I sold to Black Panthers. People were nice to me. And I was like, why is there all this animosity and separation? People are people. And so then over the years, eventually, when Ernie and I got married, we joined a black denomination. And for about 3 years, we're white pastors in a black denomination. And that was an amazing experience. And so we just you know, we would love to contribute some way is to kindness, and diversity is a good thing, even if you disagree with somebody, you know. So, you know, that's really why we're here. We were excited to hear you're doing this.
Yes.
Thank you for doing it.
Thanks for showing up. Thanks for all the work you've done, and we've only just begun, huh?
Yeah.
Alice Longoria, what you got? Welcome to the call. Hi, Dr. Z. Welcome to the call. Alice, can you connect? Alice.
Oh, sorry about that.
Hi, Dr. Z. Go ahead, Alice.
Hi. Well, thank you all for being here. This is the first time I'm on this call, and my name is Alice Longoria. I am an attorney by profession, and have numerous other things going on. However, what I've always been is somebody who has really not quite understood, for as long as I can remember, the kind of hate, whether it's gender or cross-cultural, that happens. Like, really not understanding it, knowing it's there, and logically knowing it's there, and seeing it happen, being really just hurt inside when it does happen. And yet from a logical, strategic and behavioral science perspective, I also know where it, I can recognize where it comes from, the fear. And I think some of what has been shared already is right on it, in that if we can find a way to understand the other side, we can then realize that we're much more alike than different. And my mom, who has had this philosophy all of her life, and I wish I had brought her on this call today, and I may at the next one if she's well for it, has spent a good portion of her life trying to bridge that gap. And I have not always been somebody who has wanted to do that. She's done it much more publicly. But what I do know, after seeing what has happened, it is definitely shining a light on the hatred. And I actually do think all is meant for all good. So therefore, this shining a light on all of this and what's coming up is really helping my understanding and the depth of it. And one example of that is I remember the first time I even understood about this, quote, talk that African-American families have to have with their children was when I was watching Grey's Anatomy, and Shonda Rhimes who is the writer on that show, had an episode where the chief of surgery who she's cast is African American, and her husband, who's African American, had to sit the discussion, like, we've got to have the talk with him. And like, instead of like your sex talk, it's you don't, and this gives me chills and makes me sad, don't look at them and be careful, because they could just shoot you and ask. I mean, it emotionally brings me to tears now to think that a child has to live in that fear, or that a parent has to say that to their children. And so for me, I think it's just gotten to a public level of wow, yeah, that's true all over the place. Like, I mean, seeing it in an episode and hearing it and understanding it from another human being that's not on a TV show, I think is what we need to be talking about, and how it shows up for the different races and religions, not from an or poor me, but an understanding and realizing that there's going to be backlash as well, because we're changing lives. And one thing that was said during this whole time that really resonated with me was, and I don't remember the man who said it who was interviewed, but he said, we are doing in this country something that has absolutely never been done before. And we're trying to do it, at least. And that is to create a society and a culture, a country that reflects all different religions, all different cultures from all over the world, and we treat each other fairly with respect. That's never been done, ever. And of course, this episodes are scraping off the barnacles. Don't think those people from behind are the ones that are going to move forward. But the ones that are going to move forward are the people who actually can see that and grow. And I think what this group at least gives me hope to do in certain ways is to help understand and bring as many people along as we can from an understanding perspective. And I don't mean change, but us too. Like, how do we understand their pain? And I've already experienced a reflection of, wow, I was prejudiced in that moment. And what's that about? And having to feel that shame of even feeling that prejudice that I had. And also realizing that I'm darn lucky. I happen to be Latin and a mix of other things, but I live in California where I don't see it as much because it doesn't come to me as much. But do I even know if that's true or not? And so I really do think the shining the light, as harsh as it is going to transform our country only for the better, and transform us and therefore the world only for the better. Because lastly, I'll say is I have team members that are from the Philippines and I've got friends from Canada and Scotland and Bangladesh, and at different points in time through this journey, I didn't realize how much they look to us and I'll say the United States as an inspiration, and they were saddened and worried and on the edge of their seats because they wanted us to get through this. They wanted us to step up and shine, and they were relieved that we did, even with all the chaos, and knows that we're still on the edge, but that at least there's hope. And so that's what I'd like to bring, is the hope and understanding.
And at least our eyes are wide open. And
Exactly.
I would love for your mom to get to be here too. Alice's mom has been instrumental in bringing race to TV. She was in LA. What was her title, Alice?
She was part of the Human Hate Crime Task Force and the Human Relations Commission. We'll send them the link and they can see it on YouTube when I did an honoring.
Yeah, put it in anybody and everybody that has resources, put it in the chat. I've already started a page where all these calls will be saved, and I think it's drbeth.com/heal the hate, heal-the-hate. And this is our second call, so I'll keep these going, and we'll keep the chat, and we can keep the resources and whatnot. Carolyn, would you be willing to say anything about your brother at 15?
Oh,
well, and feel free to say no.
It's not a racial issue or anything like that. It was a situation where when I was 11, my brother, my oldest brother, I have two brothers. My oldest was actually shot and killed by a man who was drunk and had mistaken my brother for his stepdaughter's boyfriend, and shot and killed him, and actually was acquitted. This was Texas in 1963, and he got a high-powered lawyer, and he was actually acquitted, which was, to us as a family, it was like saying Billy was worth nothing. He was worth nothing, because they were able to manipulate the fact he had a comb in his hand. He was combing his hair. He'd gotten out of his car. He had a comb in his hair. And they were able to say that was self-defense, that my brother was going to shoot this guy. And it was just, it was just a kangaroo court. But that was Texas in 1963.
And Carolyn and I were just walking, and I was just saying, and that's what the anybody that's not white deals with all the time.
Right, right. And we were, I don't know how it would have changed if he probably wouldn't even gotten a trial if he'd been black, It probably just would have been swept under the rug. But there was a trial, and it was very sensational, but it helps you empathize, I think, with the people who don't get a voice. We don't feel like we got a voice, and we were, white, middle class, people. But had we been black, like I say, I don't think we would have even gotten as far as a trial. So, but that was, of course, a very significant life experience for me. Has affected me to this day. But you feel powerless. Where do you go with that? What do you do as an 11-year-old child? Where do you go with that information? Where do you go with that hurt, with that pain, with that anger? And I really haven't gone anywhere with it. So I guess I've it's probably kept it mostly inside because I haven't told too many people. So here it is out now to be seen, which is, I guess, good. But what I was thinking, Bill, when you started talking, and Beth, I mentioned this to you today too. I feel like you, Bill. I told Beth after the first visit that we had, the first conversation, I would have liked to have had some people who were Donald Trump fans on here. I would like to understand what is it, and I'm being real honest here. I really seriously am. It's beyond curiosity, but I am curious about what makes them seek him out and allow him to manipulate them. Because to me, it's a manipulation, but they must feel very differently. And I don't think we can ever start to just, to start the heal unless we really understand what is it that motivates them. Is it purely just white supremacy? I don't think so. I think there's more going on here. I think there are some people out there who are supporting Donald Trump. They don't support Donald Trump, the man, but they support some of his policies. And so I think that's where, we might need to go with some of these discussions, because until we really understand what is it that is frightening them so badly about Joe Biden or, any of the policies that seem very reasonable and right and proper to me, what is it that's making them so fearful, so scared, so angry? And Beth, I think you at that point said you saw this as more of a help us come to some kind of a
healing
and a focus for ourselves, and then help us to go out. It's sort of like, you teach a man to fish, he can fish for a lifetime. If we help ourselves understand how to start the heal, we can help others start the heal, and then that just magnifies through the community. So I certainly appreciate that, but I do think it would be very enlightening if anybody knows of any people who are big.
I do. I've got some that I can do, and
you?
I agree. This is Alice. I do. I just got off the phone with one, so I think this is very, very God-given, fortuitous, divinely delivered, because literally I just got off the phone with a good friend of mine from my sorority days, and I have a few, but she in particular, I don't understand it, but she has very particular, I think it's the issues that she talks about. And I think she could enlighten us. I didn't have the bandwidth to talk about it. She wanted to. I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth to talk about this right now, but I think she would. And Beth, to whatever you want to go to, I do think it's essential we understand that, whether they're brought to this or whether they're brought to a session of it or a conversation, even if they're not joining the group in general. But I agree. I don't think we can really heal the hate without understanding. And I don't understand that how, no matter what issues you believe in as a Republican, how you could be so blinded by somebody who is that hateful. It's the first time I would love to understand that. So I agree with you.
Well, I'm totally open to that. What I don't want to have happen is have that person come on and 10, 12 people jump all over them. So the question would be whether this group is ready to seek to understand and do nothing but understand. It's not our turn, not our job, not ours to enlighten them, but for them to enlighten us. So that's what I'm looking for in this group, is teaching all of us and giving us skills and ability so that we can go out in the world and help heal. Maybe you take what we talk about here and you go seek and you ask those questions, Alice, and then you come back into the room and you say, these are some of the things that I'm hearing. These are some of their fears. This is some of their hurt. So, I want to make sure whatever we do, we're we're healing and not creating more pain and more hurt. Larissa,
Got it. Got it.
Larissa, you want to jump in here? Why are you here?
Well, I'm here for many reasons, but
For what
I don't-
reasons?
I'm here for probably various reasons. I'm just trying to do my part, if you will, in making a difference. One of my concerns is that, you know, all last summer, the conversations, if you will, about all the riots and demonstrations on Black Lives Matter. I mean, it was, you know, it was top of the line news coverage. And now, of course, you don't hear anything, any whispers at all. And so I'm just concerned that any changes that may have been made, not even changes that may have been made, changes that were talked about being made will not take place because it's not front page news anymore. So people get comfortable sweeping it back under the rug where it's lived for way too long. So
I
I mean,
totally
I want to
agree.
be hopeful, but you know, I think it's cyclical. You know, but I was encouraged by the fact that it was spread worldwide. It was not local. So that suggests that there may be hope. It suggests that it may be the time. I'm just maybe at the point where I don't want to necessarily be silent anymore. I have not had these conversations, so I'm just opening myself up to have uncomfortable conversations, as the saying goes, just to see what might change. Like I said before, and in case I was misunderstood, what I said, I don't, you know, people complain, but then there are complainers and there are action takers. So I was putting this group in the action taking category. But again, we're a small group. Hopefully we grow, but it's about, can we affect change, and what might be the best way to do that. So that's really why I'm here.
Love it, Larissa. Well, first of all, it hasn't gone under the rug for me. I'm so awake, and I'm not going back to sleep. And when it all happened last summer, I said I was going to interview a bunch of people. I haven't done all that I said I was going to do, and I'm very aware that I haven't finished what I said I was going to do, and that's what part of why I'm doing this. And I think another thing that is different about what's happening right now is it's just the flip side of the coin, but it's the same coin. Black Lives Matter is the same coin as the insurrection. It's the same coin. We're just getting to own, as white people, our side of the coin. And I think what is going to be coming from the insurrection and coming from is the backlash of that. And Lawrence, I saw your Indeed. And I think this group could hold Lawrence, you and Larissa and Cecilia and Deja and anybody else that wants to, you know, really wake us up even more. Like, wake us up even more. I don't think anybody in this group can not handle that. I think if we brought in Trumpsters that were supremacist, I think we would all want to jump them. So that's why I say that. But as far as getting rid, feeling free to say what you want to say, Larissa, and anything I'm missing and anything that's being swept under the rug, Lawrence, speak your mind. Go ahead, Dad.
Well, I was just thinking about when we got into the discussion about bringing somebody in, and I mentioned it also. Then I started thinking, trying to put my mind in that experience, and I thought that'd be pretty overwhelming for a person to be the representative for their belief system.
Right.
And I think that maybe one-on-one might be better, and talking about how we do that. What I've done when I've seen people who take strong positions, particularly one relative of mine, is just to delete them. I'm tired of hearing that, so I've deleted them. And I don't think that's the first step toward understanding. And I do believe that I have one niece that Beth, that ultimately I need to confront and apologize to her and let her know, hey, I deleted you. And let me tell you why. And what I want to do is to hear you. I want to hear what you think and feel. And I think so many people have mentioned that. Is that Larissa mentioned that, and I like that idea of hearing people. And personally, I've gotten the best results when I talk to people who have a point of view that I don't agree with. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Hold on. Doyle and Steve, if you guys can hold on 1 second. I want to keep going around the room and then I'll come back to you guys. Don't let me forget. Go ahead, Amenta. Why are you here? We got 3 people. Amenta, Dr. Z, and Katrina.
Hi, everybody. This is my first time joining, so thank you. I'm going to keep it really short. I'm here to listen. I'm here to learn. I'm searching for some hope. And I'll just say that I am completely overwhelmed. Just totally overwhelmed by what is going on in our country right now, in our families, in our communities. And I've got 2 children that are, turning 18 and 20. So I've got 2 young adult kids who are just have been marinating in this, right? I mean, when I think about their formative years in the last, 6 formative years, the last 4 to 5 in particular, it's just overwhelming to me. One of them said recently to me, I am so sick and tired of living through, unprecedented world events. And I mean, I can count on at least 5 that they have been dealing with. So not only am I overwhelmed as an individual and not 100% sure how to process all of this and be a change leader, I can't figure that out for myself, and I certainly am struggling with how to support my children as they process this and find their place in all of this.
And if there's probably 2 people I know have this, it's your 2 sons. They are so powerful and strong and loving, and so many good things about those 2 kids. But I so get what you're saying. Thanks for being here. Dr. Z, talk to us and feel free to bring up what you brought up on the last call. You're muted.
I can't bring that up, Dr. B.
Yes, you can, Dr. Z.
Only hell in a handbasket. Anyway, so I'm here for the first time too, and I'm what I brought up last time was that which part of it I don't even know, was that I don't like people that remind me of Nazis at all, and how Dr. Beth brought up the fact that, it might be in my DNA because I have relatives that were killed in the camps of Auschwitz. And I have a relative that I haven't talked to since she told me she was a Trump supporter before the election. I had no idea, and I just never talked to her again. So I'd like to, circle back and be able to talk to her, but I just haven't been able to at all. So thank you. That's my 2 cents.
Okay. So glad you're here. Katrina, welcome to the call. And I thought you were going to bring your son.
He's working. He's police officering. Maybe next time. I'm Dr. Katrina Harrod. I'm a veterinarian in Nashville, and I am completely ignorant to what's going on in our world. I, like Alice, have always just not understood how you can tell what a man's heart looks like based on the color of his skin. And I have always surrounded myself with people with good hearts and not with people without good hearts. I've lived in a small bubble for a long time, and I am secure in my beliefs that it's not the color of somebody's skin, it's actually their heart. And it's actually the decisions that they make every single day that makes them a good or a bad person. I don't know what's going on in the world, but I'm interested enough to stand up and let whoever comes into my circle know that it's about love. And I don't care who you're supporting, Trump, Biden, whoever, it's about your heart and whether your heart is in it for the right reasons. I know that for the Trump, I see an awful lot of things about Biden's going to take our guns away. I don't understand that. I know one leans further to I don't understand any of this, because to me, it's our government is should be led by good men. And it's not me to judge who good men are, it's our country. And if we can put those good men in place, whether it's in our police departments or our schools, or if we can lift them up through love, then I think that we're going to have a great next 100 years.
Good men, good women.
Good men, good women.
Yeah, when I say men, I mean just humans. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I know. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all. I'm here to learn.
You're muted, Katrina. Hit.
I said can you hear me? I said I'm here to learn what this is all about, so I can be a positive light in the world.
Well, that you already are.
That you already are.
Thanks. All right, so we only have a couple of minutes left. Cecilia asked, can everybody put their, that is willing to, put your name, your phone number, and then at the end, you can do the three little dots and save the chat. I'll also have this saved on the page that I'll give everybody access to. So names, numbers, resources, and like I said, I don't have a what's the word? I don't have a plan for this. This is just so if somebody has something on your heart, trust yourself and bring it up and say what you want to say. And one of the things that I would suggest is put it in the form of a question and see who's willing to play and who wants to go there. But if somebody says, hey, I've got a hill to climb, everybody follow me, feel free. This is our group, not my group, is kind of how I have a vision of this. And go ahead, Cecilia.
So as we're running out of time, and this is going to be a challenge because there's quite a few of us. So to get back and respond to what you just said, how do you want us to respond? Email, chat, how do you want us to do that?
Any and all. In the chat right now, say it right now out loud. Send me an email, pick up the phone, call me. You got my phone number. Any way goes with me. And this is why I'm here, is to bring us all back to the light. I feel like I have a gift with this and a calling with this. And so yeah, I'm open. I'm wide open. Anybody else have any questions so we're going to meet in 2 weeks. Anybody have any questions or an idea of what you'd like to do on that next meeting? Anybody you want to have there? You want to have a spokesperson there? Any one of you want to be a spokesperson for that meeting?
Beth, I can see if Mom's available, and it might be if she's available before she gets upgraded, it might be worth it to have her on, pose her a few questions, and then we can all ask her, because she has gone through 30 years, more than that, of bombs in Los Angeles, being blown up at temples. She has Like people have come from, I mean, Janet Reno flew out to learn from her to help with the hate crimes. So, and she did say the hardest thing I asked her one time privately, Mom, like, who's the hardest person you have had to find that thread through, that good thread through? And I don't mean that they're bad people, but she said the hardest one were the skinheads. And this was decades ago that she said this to me, because it really took me digging deep. And so I will ask her, maybe you can ask her. And if the rest of the team the rest of the crew wants to, you can bring her questions. She's pretty friggin' amazing. And it would be beautiful to capture her advice before.
I'm an insta yes on that. I'm an insta yes on that. And Steve and Doyle, you guys were going to say something. It's 5:30. Is it? So Doyle, you're pass. Steve, pass. Okay, sorry. Okay, so let me just do one word around. What's your one word out? What's your takeaway from the call? Doyle, would you go first? One word.
Compassion.
Compassion. Okay, Cecilia. Dad, you're next.
Call that'll be off in like 2 minutes.
Empathy.
From when?
What, Cecilia? What?
Empathy.
The veterinarian place?
Okay, empathy. Dad.
Openness.
Lawrence.
Can you pose the question again, please? Yeah.
What's your one word out? What's your takeaway from this call in summary?
I like openness.
Steve and Ernie.
Mine is humility.
Mine's encouraging.
Alice. Then Carolyn.
Love.
You're muted, Carolyn. Larissa, you're next.
Hope.
Larissa.
Open-minded.
Sharon.
Understanding.
Aminta.
Learning.
Dr. Z.
Unresolved.
Katrina.
Love.
Mine is hopeful. So thank you, everybody. I'll copy out the link. I will send you guys an invitation for those that have been willing to put your name and email and whatnot in the chat. I'll send you an invite, and I'm open to feedback. Please feel free to call me and say, we need more of this, less of that, change this, do that, and I'm willing to listen. Bye, everybody. Mwah.
Bye. Thanks, Dr. Beth.
Thank you.
Lots of love all around.